would come back on, Poppy, and say something, but
now we're recording. Okay, cool. Good afternoon and welcome to the Mini Storage Messenger Self-Storage Webinar Series. I'm Poppy Behrens, publisher of Minico, and we're delighted to have you in the audience today. If you are joining us for the first time, this is one of several informative webinars planned for self-storage owners, operators, managers, investors, developers, and other industry professionals. Today's webinar is 6 Highly Guarded Secrets Your Internet Marketing Company Hopes You Never Discover. It is sponsored by Storage Marketing Solutions, and our presenter is Derek Naylor, President of Storage Marketing Solutions. Over the past 7 years, Derek has incrementally increased sales revenue for his clients by more than $250 million through innovative and advanced marketing strategies. In 2003, he founded Storage Marketing Solutions and dedicated his talents and unique growth strategies exclusively to the self-storage industry. Derek's company now helps hundreds of operators from coast to coast to increase their occupancy and profits through the company's unique outsourced marketing director program and other tools. Derek is a regular contributor to industry magazines and a dynamic speaker at trade events. This year marks the 32nd anniversary of Mini Storage Messenger, providing the self-storage industry with in-depth news and information. Each issue of Messenger offers cover stories and feature articles on the most timely industry topics and trends. We also publish a variety of other self-storage data sources, such as those you see listed on your screen. For more information, please visit ministoragemessenger.com. We invite you to submit questions today throughout the webinar. To do so, simply type your question in the Q&A area and click Send. Depending on the question, we will answer it privately or to the entire group. While we'll try to answer as many questions as we can during the Q&A period at the end of the webinar, those that cannot be answered due to time constraints will be answered by way of email once the webinar has concluded. This webinar is being recorded and will be available for viewing by demand on our archives at ministoragemessenger.com. Today's presentation should last about 45 minutes. And now it's my distinct pleasure to turn the presentation over to Derek. Good afternoon, Derek.
hey, Poppy, thanks for that nice introduction. And
You're
I'd
quite
like to
welcome.
thank everybody. Well, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining the webinar today. I know this is certainly an interesting topic. Internet marketing is one of those things that is talked about almost nonstop in our industry today, and there's a lot of conversation going on that's just not right. And I don't want to make that sound negative in any way, but there's a lot of, since it's so new in this industry, there's a lot going on that I really want to clear up with this webinar, because it's something that I get so many questions on. In fact, I would say of all the questions we get, probably 80% of them are internet marketing related. So as I said, internet marketing is new to the self-storage industry. As you can see here on this slide, there's done a long history together in the self-storage industry. So I'll just share a little bit of history lesson, not that anyone logged on to this webinar for history, but nonetheless, when I remember back when Storage Marketing Solutions first started, we would be at trade shows, right, and we'd be exhibiting our service, and people would come up and say, hey, what do you do, and so on and so forth. And people would, when we would talk about internet marketing and websites, people would look at us and like we were a little bit crazy, like, what are you talking about? We don't need that. Isn't the internet for isn't the internet for worldwide businesses? It's the World Wide Web for a reason. And the reason why is because a lot of operators back in 2003, were still in the good old days. They didn't quite need more tenants, and so they weren't looking for alternate ways to get new tenants. So the fact that there's not a long history together in any industry on any topic, there becomes sort of this issue where there's information being shared on that there's different types of information being shared. Some of it's right, some of it's wrong, and it creates this confusion. And so what I wanted to do today is go over the 6 most common myths that are out there and really clear those up, because it'll save a lot of operators a lot of time and a lot of money, and it will help, even if you don't use us for internet marketing, if you use anybody for internet marketing, it will help you make a more informed decision. So what I want to do is just dive into those right now. The first one is, if we can get that slide to advance. All right, here we go. The first one is that you should never measure success or failure of your internet marketing campaign by cost per lead. Now, I don't know if you can see that slide. Keith, is that slide coming up?
It's coming up right now, Derek.
Okay.
So it should be up all the way here in a minute.
Okay, no problem. I'll just keep talking about it. But a lot of times, when it comes to success or failure of an internet campaign, or of any campaign for that matter, you should focus on what's called cost per customer acquisition rather than cost per lead. And here's why, especially on the internet. It's not a lead that pays you money, it's a customer that pays you money. So what we want to do is we want to break down a difference between leads, the difference between leads and the difference between actual customers. In internet marketing especially, it's very easy for leads to be generated with Google pay-per-click, or any pay-per-click for that matter, whether it be on Bing or Yahoo, or even Facebook these days. You can generate leads by bidding on certain keywords. Now, some keywords convert to a paying customer a lot more than other keywords. So certain internet marketing companies are bidding on keywords, especially if they're not in the self-storage industry. They're bidding on keywords for you that are not converting into paying customers. And when that happens, you are basically, it gives you misleading information, because what you're doing is you're having a low cost per lead and a high cost per customer acquisition. Because, again, if I can just give you a couple examples. For example, if you sell boxes at your storage facility, which most of you do, a non-self-storage marketing company may go out and say, well, let's bid on the keyword boxes. Well, if you use Google's keyword bidding tool, it will give you all sorts of recommendations, such as box set, DVD box set, et cetera, et cetera. So there's all sorts of terms around the phrase boxes. Well, if you've got pay-per-click ads running on that and bidding on those keywords, if somebody's types in box set or DVD box set, your pay-per-click ad could come up. And if somebody clicks on that, then you then have what's called a lead. Okay, so as you can probably guess, if somebody types in box set or DVD box set, the chances of them converting into a self-storage customer and paying you that monthly revenue that you want is very low. But yet, if you're focusing strictly on cost per lead, you're going to think that your campaign's doing very well because you're getting a lot of leads at a low cost. However, if you're focusing on cost per customer, that's where you'll really discover that there's something wrong with your campaign, because you're getting a lot of leads, but they're simply not converting into paying customers. So one of the first secrets is that you should measure by cost per customer rather than cost per lead. And when you do that, you can reduce, as you can see in parentheses here, this is how you can reduce your pay-per-click budget significantly. Because, again, if you're bidding on that box set example that I talked about earlier, then if you cut that out of your pay-per-click budget and start focusing on keywords only that convert to paying customers that rent storage, then you're going to be able to cut you're going to have two effects. Number one, you're going to lower your cost per lead, and you're going to get more customers for self-storage, which is what you want, and you're going to lower your pay-per-click budget, which, of course, is always nice to increase the amount of customers you get while lowering your advertising budget. All right, let's dive into secret number 2. One of the things that I hear a lot is that it takes forever to get on the first page of Google. That's sort of what everyone wants to do, right? You say, you hear people say, oh, I'm on the first page of Google, or I want to get on the first page of Google. And one of the things that I hear a lot of people say is that, and it's a myth, is that it takes forever to get on the first page of Google. And a lot of internet marketing companies will tell you that as well, that, hey, we can do it for you, but it's going to take you, 3 to 4 months before you're going to start to see any traffic from the first page of Google. Well, that's true in one regard. There's basically 3 areas of search results that you want to pay attention to. Number one is what's called pay-per-click, which I talked about on the previous slide. That is under usually on Google it's highlighted under a faint yellow color, and it's called sponsored links. That section is, as I mentioned, pay-per-click. You can be up on there in a matter of days, if not in the same day, if you build your campaign right. Because all you're doing is you're basically bidding on keywords and telling Google that you'll pay them a certain amount of money if they will direct that traffic to your website. So that's one way that you can be up there within a matter of days, if not the same day, if you know what you're doing on the first page of Google. The second way is through what's called Google Places or Google Maps. You may know that you may be familiar with this as well. If you do a search for self-storage in any area, you'll notice that there's a map with little pins in it on the top. That's called Google Places again, and that's something that is free, and it's yours as a local business to own and to promote your business on. Now that takes a little bit longer, just depending on your market. You can actually be up there in a matter of days as well if they'll allow you to do what's called phone verification, where they simply verify that you are the business you say you are via phone. But sometimes they'll make you do it with a postcard. So if they make you do it with a postcard, it'll take you a week or two. If they allow you to do it via phone, it'll take you just a couple of days to be on there. And that section of search results actually gets a majority of the traffic. So you definitely want to be on Google Places and on that map for several reasons. Number one, like I mentioned, it's free, and number two, it gets a majority of the traffic. So at least I should say this: at least at the time of this recording, it's going to be free. Who knows what Google's going to do, coming down the road? But that's something that is currently free and gets a lot of traffic. And so there's two ways right there you can be on the first page of Google within a matter of days. And then the third way, there's the organic search, which is below that, and that's now that takes time to be there. That could take several months to find your website placed there, because you have to compete with a lot of other companies, and it's based on Google's algorithm, and a lot of that depends on how well your internet marketing company can get you up there and build equity with the search engines and understand their algorithm. So again, I don't want this to come across as negative, and I don't want this to again, there are very good internet marketing companies out there, but again, as on any topic that's new, there's just a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of that is just because there's a lot of information coming from different sources. So again, I'm not trying to point fingers and say, hey, they're wrong, but what I'm trying to do is inform you, so when you go and make a decision on internet marketing, whether you do it yourself or you use a company, you at least have this information. So if somebody tells you, hey, it's going to take you 6 months to be on the first page of Google, or 3 months for that matter, or even a month for that matter, that maybe they're not using programs that they should be using. Same thing with the pay-per-click, measuring things by cost per lead rather than cost per customer acquisition. You want to make sure that they're using the proper terminology. If you go and talk to an internet marketing company and they say, we can get you the lowest cost per lead, then you know that they're not really focusing on the right thing, which is getting you customers. So you want to hear them talk about cost per customer acquisition and lowering that rather than just getting you a whole bunch of leads that may or may not convert. Okay, so let's dive into secret number 3, which is the internet has killed the yellow pages. The internet has not killed the yellow pages. In fact, the yellow pages are not dead in many markets. Now, I'm unpopular for saying that, I'll admit that, because no one likes writing, for some reason, nobody likes writing the check to their yellow page company, and I think it's because, it's just years and years and years of writing a big check to an advertising company where you're placed in, a storage section with sometimes dozens and dozens of other competitors, and it is expensive. However, in many markets, even today, in the year 2011, in many markets that we have clients, and we have clients in almost every state of the United States, there are many markets, probably 75% of them, where the yellow pages are still effective for our clients. And there's some surprising areas, too. A lot of people think that yellow pages are still only effective in really rural markets. We have some surprise cities as well, like Atlanta, Georgia, for example, where yellow pages are still somewhat effective for our clients. Now, they're not driving in clients or customers or tenants at the lowest cost, but they're still driving in customers at a low enough cost that self-storage operators can get a good return on your investment. So the Internet has not killed the Yellow Pages, and like I say, although thousands of people would like that to happen, it hasn't happened yet. So one of the things that I want to point out here is that, again, any Internet marketing company that tells you that Yellow Pages are dead, again, they may be trying to shift all of your budget into something that is not necessarily focused on getting you customers. So what you should do, a lot of people ask me the question, okay, so what should I do, Derek? Yellow Pages are expensive and I want to get out. What should I do? Well, the answer is you should track your Yellow Page performance based on cost per customer. Just like you track Internet marketing, you want to track your Yellow Pages accordingly. And to do that, you simply take your budget. So let's say, for sake of easy math, let's say you're spending $1,000 a month on a Yellow Page ad. You simply divide that by how many customers you get a month, from Yellow Pages, and that will give you your cost per customer acquisition. So, for example, let's say your Yellow Page ad is getting you 10 new customers a month, and it's costing you $1,000 a month, as previously discussed. Your cost per customer is $100. Well, is $100 high or low to get a customer? Depending on where you are and what your background thinking is on that, $100 is actually a great deal to pay for a customer based on your lifetime customer value, which is, again, a metric that you need to know for your self-storage business. Otherwise, it's impossible to make a good marketing decision if you don't know what your customers are worth. So we have yet to see customers worth less than $700 across our customer base. Most customers are worth over $1,000. So to pay $100 for a new customer, that's actually a great deal. You get a great return on your investment. But Yellow Pages are not dead. I highly encourage you to test it. And again, don't dump the Yellow Pages and then dump all of your money into Internet marketing just because that's sort of the buzz going around. You want to make sure that everywhere if you're going to pull your money out of anything, that it's not getting you customers at a reasonable rate, and that the money or that the medium you put your money into is going to get you customers at a reasonable rate. So secret number 4 is a big one, and that is that that nobody can, or that you need an expert to do this for you. And again, as an internet marketing company in the self-storage industry, a lot of people are shocked to hear me say this because it's like we are internet marketing experts and we are marketing experts in the self-storage industry. So why is it that I'm telling you that you don't need an expert to be on the first page of Google? Well, again, the purpose of me doing this webinar is to inform you to make a good decision. And I know that a lot of people out there just don't want to have the time or even want to mess with this at all. So those are the people that work with us. But one of the things is that if you have an internet connection and can read, you can generate quite a bit of traffic from the first pages of search engines without hiring an expert, which again is something that a lot of internet marketing companies will tell you that if you're not an expert in this, then just don't even mess with it. Now, I want to be careful here and say that you can waste a lot of money if you don't know what you're doing on pay-per-click. However, if you just want to generate traffic and not spend any money on it, you can set up that Google Places campaign that I talked about earlier, which is, again, in the map section. That doesn't cost you any money, and that's something that you really can't hurt yourself by setting up. There are ways to do it right, and there's ways to do it wrong. But again, if in most markets, a lot of operators have not set up their Google Places campaign, so you might be one of a handful to set that up, and you're going to get quite a bit of traffic from that. Again, without being an expert, all you have to do is go to Google and click on the map in your area and set up your business. And just plug in your business information. It's very simple. Like I say, if you can read and follow directions and you have an internet connection, you can set that up, and you can set that up, and you can be getting traffic in no time, and you don't really have to be an expert to do it. And again, I just want to make this clear on why I'm talking about this sort of stuff, is that I want you to be able to, as a self-storage operator, I want you to be able to determine the people who are going to do a great job for you and the people who are trying to rip you off and take your money. And if they're, these are sort of clues on, again, if you go to a company and they're saying, you don't want to mess with anything on the internet unless you're an expert, then again, you just need to question their motives. Secret number 5, the internet is not a confusing and dangerous, or is not confusing and dangerous for our needs in the self-storage industry. Now, the internet is something that is going back to its newness, or I don't even know if that's a word, going back to how new it is in the self-storage industry. It's something that is confusing, and a lot of people just don't know how to quite think about it, how to think about what it is, how to measure it, how to set it up. And I say get ready for an ego slap internet, tongue-in-cheek, because a lot of people think that it's something special and it's something mystical, when in reality the internet is just another marketing medium for you as a self-storage operator. That's why I say for our needs in the self-storage industry, it's not really confusing or dangerous. You have to think of it just as you would direct mail or Yellow Pages or anything else, or any other advertising medium for that. Now, of course, the internet is a very powerful and amazing tool. I don't want to downplay how amazing the internet is. It's given us it's opened up a whole new world for us, literally. But for our needs in the self-storage industry, it's simply just another way for you to generate new customers. And if you think of it that way, it's something that becomes a lot less overwhelming and a lot less mystical. Again, we have a lot of people say, I just don't understand the internet, so I don't really want to do anything with it, because it's like this big machine, and there's algorithms, and there's click-through rates, and there's cost per clicks, and there's bounce backs, and there's errors, and there's black flagging, and these are all industry terms that that certainly we know, and that you'll hear thrown around, and so it confuses you and it makes it sound scary. But again, if you think of it as just another advertising medium, it removes that. You can think of your website as a brochure for your business, and a portal for your customers to pay their rent and reserve units. And an internet marketing campaign is just something to drive. It's like putting little billboards out there is another way to think of it. They call it the information superhighway for a reason, I think, and that is that there's all this, if you think of it as a superhighway, what's on highways? Billboards. So if you think of it that way, think of all this traffic coming by looking for storage, and if you put these billboards up, then you can stop them and get them to come to your facility. And again, these billboards are your pay-per-click ads, your Google Places or map listings, and your organic listings as well. And also there's great companies in this industry that are self-storage directories like usstoragesearch.com, sparefoot.com. These directories are also well placed on the search engines, and they're like little billboards for you as well. So the more you think of it as just a highway of traffic for you to get new customers from, the less confusing it will be, and hopefully you'll be able to think with a little bit more clarity on how to analyze the internet. All right, let's go to the next slide if we could. Secret number 6, the internet is not the end-all be-all marketing tactic, but it is extremely powerful. Now this is something that, this is a topic that, again, I'm not really popular for, because it's all the buzz and it's all the rage these days, that you got it. If you're not on the internet, you're dead. That if you don't know what you're doing on the internet, then you're going to end up paying way too much per customer. And really, the internet is just another marketing tactic, as I said on the previous slide. And what I want to talk about here is that although the internet is an amazing and extremely powerful tool, it's just one tactic in your toolbox. You should focus on all sorts of other marketing opportunities that are out there. Again, Yellow Pages are still effective. Direct mail is effective in many markets. Focus on the sales techniques of your managers. Focus on forming strategic alliances throughout your community. Again, we work with hundreds of facilities from coast to coast in the country, across the country, and some of the best ones on the internet are getting 40 to 50% of their new tenants off of the internet, but the other 40 to 50% still come from the other 50 to 60%, I should say, still come from offline tactics, like drive-by signage and alliances and referrals and things like that. So you want to make sure that when you're measuring all of your marketing programs, that you continue to stay focused on offline tactics as well, because those who just focus on the internet and think that it's the end-all be-all are missing out on a huge opportunity to increase their occupancy and income through other offline channels. And I really think that that there's been a disservice done in this industry a little bit by how much the internet has been focused on. And I can't tell you how many operators just, they're overlooking almost everything else in their business besides the internet, and at the cost of dozens and dozens of rentals a month in some cases, because they're not focusing on other things. So again, it's an amazing and extremely powerful tool. You should be on it. You should be on the first page of Google. But again, make sure that you're focusing on all of the other areas as well. And a lot of times, if your competitors are just focusing on the internet and they start ignoring, forming these alliances in your community with apartment managers and realtors and fire and flood restoration companies and so forth, then that's a good thing for you. So if you're listening to this webinar, one good secret for you is that your competitors, a lot of your competitors are going to quit paying attention to a lot of these other mediums, and they're just going to put all their attention on the internet, which opens up a big opportunity for you in the offline. So that's another secret for you. If your internet marketing company is telling you to focus exclusively on the and ignore everything else, then you're going to be in trouble. So focus on everything else, or focus on just make sure that you focus on a wide variety of marketing tactics. Don't give up on the stuff that's been providing you tenants for years and years. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, per se. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. I know that, again, the internet you might still be scratching your head going, gee, what do I do with the internet? This has been helpful. You've given me some pointers. So if you have any questions, we're here for you. We've been in this industry since 2003, as I said. We know how to sell and market self-storage. We do it offline. We do it online. And we can help you with any questions that you might have regarding this. So if you have questions, feel free to send an email to info@storagemarketingsolutions.com. Again, it's info@storagemarketingsolutions.com. And we'll answer any questions that you have regarding the internet. We promise not to try and sell you something if you call us or email us. If you just have a question, we'll answer the question to the best of our ability, or send you in a direction that we'll answer it. A lot of times we use third-party resources to answer questions. We can take you directly to Google's link on that subject, if you need it. So also our toll-free number is, if you prefer not to email and you want to pick up the phone and call us, our toll-free number is 1-800-941-4805. Again, 1-800-941-4805. If you push option number 1, that'll take you to someone on my staff, which it will direct you in the right way to get your answered on what's going on with the internet or any questions you might have. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, let us know, and that does it.
Thank you, Derek, very much for another great webinar, great presentation, and we invite you to visit our website at ministoragemessenger.com, where you can view all of Derek's past webinars as well. So in wrapping up, we'd like to thank you for attending. We certainly hope we provided some useful information for you about internet marketing. You will receive an email shortly with a link to the archived presentation and a special offer, so please make sure you watch your inbox for this email. And again, we'd also like to invite you to join our future webinars or view our past webinars. To do so, please visit ministoragemessenger.com, where you can find all of the information about both the upcoming and past webinars. Thank you again for attending, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, I think it went well. Derek, are you still there?